What's up, fanatics? Sully here at Funko HQ with
Reese.
Talented individual, one of our artists here. Oh yeah, come on. We're about to look at some of your work. I think you can take the
It's
honor.
not all mine. It's not all mine. I worked with a killer team here.
We're here to take a look at the new Primal Age line that was unveiled at New York Comic Con, or during New York Comic Con.
DC Primal Age is a new line of action figures that kind of reimagines a lot of the DC heroes and villains, kind of run through like an 80s fantasy filter. So they're all kind of like barbaric and they live in this fantasy world.
We know there were some other figures during the 80s that had the big
yeah.
stature figures.
Oh yeah, there was a ton back in the day. And so this is like kind of our love letter, our homage to that style.
We've got in front of us the 8 mainline figures and a couple of the beasts. But we can talk about it all day, or we can dive in, we can open these bad boys up and have some fun.
Let's do it. Let's
Wanna
open
do that?
it.
Somebody did a lot of very hard work on this art on the packaging,
I
so let's
wonder-
acknowledge that.
Oh, I wonder who that was.
So these come with accessories. I've got,
Oh, they come with a lot of
of
accessories.
course, Batman's got his cape, but he's also got, there's a little baggie of goodies that comes with him.
Oh yes. I really wanted to make sure that these guys like came with all kinds of stuff to like beat each other up with. It's a rough and tumble world, you know? This is not a fancy kind of like DC universe where Bruce Wayne has bazillions of dollars to have all this high-tech stuff made. So this is stuff that's like forged in fire. So it's hammered metal. Sometimes weapons, like in Mr. Freeze's case, are forged out of magic. Here he is with his ice sword and his ice helmet and his ice shield.
Batman's got an awesome cape though that moves.
Yeah, so yeah, we made it out of like kind of a softer plastic, so it kind of stand up to a little wear and tear, you know.
In the hands of the proper child or
Oh, yeah.
collector, these are gonna get some action.
Oh, yeah.
There's gonna be some throwdowns.
Yeah, these are made for adventure. So one of the cool things about Green Lantern is that in the original DC universe, you know, most of his power, he can construct just about anything his imagination can come up with out of the power of his ring. So I thought, well, wouldn't that be rad if like all of his weapons and armor and stuff are actual constructs of the ring? So I thought that
So
was
they
kind
got
of
the
a yes,
translucent
exactly.
green. He's got a shield, a battle axe, and a, what do you call this weapon?
I would call that a
Spiky
mace.
ball? A mace?
I would call that a mace.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Oh man.
I dropped that on him and pretended like I didn't know what I just said.
So Aquaman was a lot of fun because we were kind of playing with him. You know, the details on him I had a good time with. We removed his hand and gave him a gnarly bone hook. If you look closely at his armor, like his shoulder armor here is like formed in the shape of an octopus. And if you look under his beard, he's actually got a whale's tooth on a piece of cord hanging around his neck.
King Shark is a bit magical. I mean, this is not your everyday guy roaming around here.
No, he certainly isn't.
Talk about beast mode. Look at this guy.
Dude.
That is sick.
I'm a little obsessed with sharks, like many people are. Just like the human shark hybrid is so much fun.
And the shark teeth
Yeah.
as a chest
Yeah.
plate.
Yeah, I wanted to make his armor kind of fearsome, and so who knows what that enemy was, like some poor shark that went up against him. And he's got a big carcharodon tooth as his belt buckle.
He's got a
And if
hook,
you
too.
look, so his vambraces or his wrist guards there, those are little shells, and that's seaweed. His little loincloth is made out of seaweed.
And he's got a hook too. Him and Aquaman can throw down
Yes.
with the hooks.
Now, traditionally, he's a Flash villain. But I kind of wanted to mix it up a little bit in Wave 1. You know, he's in the sea, Aquaman's in the sea. They're gonna cross paths eventually. But that also leaves room for Wave 2, heroes and villains. So this is Scarecrow, one of my favorites. Like, I really wanted him to be actually scary.
Yeah.
It's in his name. There's almost like a skull-like face if you look closely underneath this like burlap sack that's tied around his head. Most of his armor is like pieces of wood and stuff, like the things you would find out in the fields. He's got this cool crow symbol on his shield, and then the all-important scythe weapon. So he turned out to be one of my favorites.
Yeah, the Joker is weaponed out. Not only he's got some shield. He's got a little shoulder plate there, but he's already got some knives on him.
A lot of times people forget that the Joker's actually really an extremely dangerous person. He's a maniac. He's got a lot of weapons, a scary smile. We did like some weird scarification on his chest, so it says ha 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 over and over again on
I
his
see it
chest.
on there.
And then another detail, where's his axe?
Oh, in my hand.
So I made that a J.
I would have never seen the ha-ha-has on the chest.
Yeah, yeah.
Pointed out. That is really cool.
Yeah, so if you look closely, there's lots of little like clues and Easter eggs in these figures that I tried to kind of use to pay homage to, you know, the source material. I imagine the Joker, like, out of all these heroes, he's kind of the most egotistical. As we were working on this project, we were kind of trying to imagine what their personalities were like, because that kind of helps, like, determine how they would end up looking in this world. And since he's so full of himself, and he's such, like, kind of a self-imposed prince, you know, clown prince of crime, we just thought it would be fitting that he, of course, would have a jester, like, picture of himself on his own shield, you know. He's that kind of dude. Wonder Woman's one of my favorite figures in this series. I wanted her to look tough. I wanted her to look formidable. If you're on the wrong side of justice and you got to deal with her, you better be afraid. And then one of my favorite details, like, this is just toy design geekery, is that we, you know, her little magic lasso.
Yep.
And so we had a little hook put on her belt so that you can hang it on there.
Nice touch. And of course, we also have the beasts.
Oh yeah. So you can't live in this world if you don't have something to ride into battle on. So in this world, we reimagined Ace the Bat Hound, which has been around since the 50s, and he was like a German Shepherd with a mask on in the old comic books, and he's changed over the years. So we decided to turn him into a giant riding, like dire wolf. We put a saddle on him, and we turned his usual, you know, Batman mask into like a piece of head armor on there, and Batman can ride on the back of him. And then we actually invented one of the beasts too. This is the Joker beast, not from the comics at all. We thought about the different things the Joker could ride on. We ended up on this giant lizard because I wanted that big Komodo dragon kind of grin.
And look at that throne for a saddle.
Again, going back to Joker's like ego. Like, he's full of himself, and he's like this, you know, clown prince, or so he likes to claim. So of course, if he's gonna put a saddle on it like his creature, it's gonna be a throne where he can rule over people. But Batman will put a stop to that.
These look awesome.
Thank you.
These look awesome.
Thank you.
But for any good action figure set, you've got to have a home, right?
Oh,
You've got to have a base of operations.
For sure.
And that's where this big bad boy
Yeah, let's slide that in.
Slide it into play here. So, we have this massive playset. I mean, look, I'm not a short guy. Look at me behind this thing. What are we looking at here?
This is the Bat Cave playset. So they told me when we first started working on it, they were like, well, we need a playset. And I was like, yeah, not a problem. Like, I'm on it. And they said, well, go big, like, go crazy with it. So we worked with some of the illustrators down at Funko South and came up with the first initial look of it. And then we all kind of just designed what would be inside Batman's lair in this world. So there's a lot of fun details. Of course, you need a jail where you can put bad guys, his bat throne, as you can see. Now remember, this world doesn't have technology,
right?
So he doesn't have a bat computer to look for criminals. So because there is some magic in this world, we gave him like kind of this little crystal ball so he can kind of keep an eye on the world. And then this is his little weapons room where he can practice with his practice dummy, and he can use all these weapons, and Batman can actually wear this little helmet.
What?
And go in there and just, you know.
Oh, that's cool.
Hone his skills as a crime fighter. And then one of my favorite stories about this, we were trying to talk about, like, well, you know, do we put a ladder in there or like a bat pole? Like, what would that be in this world? And one of our longtime artists from the very beginning, Rob Schwartz, shout out to Rob. He just walked by while we were talking about it, and he goes, make it a dragon spine, and then just kept on walking. And we just looked at each other like, oh my God, that's brilliant.
He just dropped the mic as he walked by.
That's Rob, man. So yeah, so the dragon spine ladder got added to it. Awesome. And I think that's one of the most original parts of this whole thing.
And of course, we're looking at the inside.
That's the inside,
let's not ignore the detail on the front of the Bat Cave here.
It's so beautiful with this scary bat face, and then, you know, the translucent blue flames, all carved, hewn out of the side of the mountain itself is how we kind of imagined it. So when I was a kid, I got the Dagobah playset from Empire Strikes Back for Christmas. Whoever worked on that back in the old Kenner days sculpted a bunch of crazy little details. One of my favorite details was there was this tiny little lizard sitting on a rock that they had sculpted into the base, and so I had Anna, our sculptor, put a little lizard in there as my homage to one of my favorite playsets ever.
These are out now?
These are out now. You can get these now. Amazon.com.
Go get them if you don't already have them. Thanks for joining us, Reese. This was a lot of fun. If you guys don't already have them, go get them. Be on the lookout for that Wave 2 that he hinted at.
Oh yeah, it's coming sooner than you think.
Thursday night.
Yeah, get ready.